Ian Garry, that's pretty good at putting his finger in somebody's chest, has been pretty respectful when it comes to Islam. But nobody's calling for Islam. If no one calls for Islam and you're not good at callouts, you suck at callouts, but you give one on a curve, you're an A+. Right? If I'm grading you on a curve, which means I throw out the highest score and I throw out the lowest score, and you're the only one, you got an A+.
I was looking at UFC Philadelphia and I was thinking, what if they don't do Makhachev versus Garry? What if they hit us with a Kayla Harris and Amanda Nunes main event and we're right back where we left off and momentum slows down? We are keeping the ball rolling and we need to make sure of that, and this is a perfect way to make sure of that. Makhachev versus Garry. Ian Garry gets the title shot.
Ian Garry is the #1 ranked guy on the planet, and he's beaten some tremendous fighters along the way. And of course, he took Shavkat Rakhmonov in a #1 contender matchup, took him 5 rounds, almost got the submission in the 5th round, and then since then, he's come back and the man is still fighting. Last time out, he took out Belal Muhammad, who is the former champion. Before that, he took out Carlos Praches, one of the biggest and hottest names right now in the welterweight division. So I say it again, right now, is Ian Garry going to fight Islam? Because when you look on social media,
as UFC 330 draws closer, anticipation continues to build around one of the biggest fights of the year. Ian Machado Garry is preparing for the toughest challenge of his career as he gets ready to face Islam Makhachev, and the Irish contender isn't hiding his confidence. While many fighters choose to keep their predictions modest before stepping into the octagon, Garry has made it clear that he believes this is the fight that will define his legacy. According to Garry, defeating the pound-for-pound king would instantly prove that he belongs among the greatest mixed martial artists in the world. He has repeatedly expressed respect for everything Islam has accomplished, but he insists that admiration won't stop him from chasing victory. In his mind, there's no better opponent to beat if he wants to become a UFC legend.
Dana, I'll ask you about a couple of Irish fighters. Ian Machado Garry was here in attendance tonight and he's been very vocal about the possibility of getting the next title shot at 170 pounds. What's the likelihood that we see him against Islam Makhachev next?
Machado versus Makhachev, is there a possibility? Is it likely? He was here today. Ian Garry, he's very vocal about trying to fight Makhachev next. Is it possible that we see that fight next?
Yeah, like Islam's coming back from an injury, a hand injury. As soon as he's ready, we'll figure out what's next for him.
Speaking about the matchup, Garry explained that his perfect performance wouldn't simply be surviving 5 rounds against the champion. Instead, he wants to make the fight look controlled from start to finish. He believes his preparation has equipped him with answers for every challenge Islam can present, whether it's striking exchanges or relentless wrestling pressure. Garry predicts that once Islam realizes his usual tactics aren't producing the expected results, frustration will begin to set in. The Irish contender believes every failed takedown attempt and every successful defensive sequence will slowly shift the momentum in his favor. He even suggested that while Islam searches for solutions, he'll be landing clean shots that gradually wear the champion down. His confidence isn't based solely on belief. Garry pointed to several major championship upsets over the past few years as proof that dominant champions are never unbeatable. The UFC has shown time and time again that unexpected victories happen when the right fighter arrives with the perfect game plan. Because of that, Garry refuses to accept the idea that Islam is untouchable. He believes his versatility separates him from previous challengers. Rather than relying on a single weapon, Garry feels he has multiple paths to victory. Whether the fight stays standing or moves to the mat, he says he's prepared to compete in every area of mixed martial arts. One of Garry's biggest strengths, in his opinion, is movement. He expects his footwork, distance management, and constant angles to force Islam into making uncomfortable decisions. While many fans assume the champion will immediately look for takedowns, Garry actually welcomes that scenario. Instead of fearing Islam's wrestling, Garry says he's eager to test himself against one of the best grapplers in the sport. He expects Islam to attack his legs repeatedly, but he believes that's exactly where months of preparation will pay off. His goal isn't simply to defend takedowns, it's to prove he can compete with Islam in the champion's strongest area. Not everyone shares Garry's optimism. Former UFC heavyweight champion Jon Jones recently weighed in on the matchup and gave a straightforward prediction. Jones acknowledged Garry's talent but believes Islam's wrestling pedigree gives him a massive advantage. According to Jones, the greatest weapon any elite wrestler possesses is the ability to decide exactly where the fight takes place. If Islam wants to strike, he can strike. If he wants to wrestle, he can wrestle. That level of control has helped him dominate world-class opponents throughout his career, and Jones believes it will once again be the deciding factor. While remaining respectful toward both athletes, he ultimately expects Islam Makhachev to leave UFC 330 with another championship victory. Former two-division champion Henry Cejudo, however, sees things a little differently. Although Cejudo has always favored elite wrestlers in stylistic matchups, he admits this fight presents unique challenges for Islam. He believes Garry's size, reach, sharp jab, and dangerous kicking game create problems the champion hasn't consistently faced in recent years. Moving from lightweight to welterweight also introduces another layer of uncertainty. Cejudo points out that larger, longer opponents can be much harder to pressure effectively, especially when they know how to maintain distance. Because of that, he refuses to dismiss Garry's chances despite Islam entering the fight as the betting favorite. Even more interesting, Cejudo praised Garry's underrated grappling ability. He reminded fans that Garry has already demonstrated impressive submission skills against elite competition, proving he's far more than just a striker. That experience, Cejudo believes, makes this matchup much closer than many people realize. Rather than seeing Garry as someone who simply hopes to survive wrestling exchanges, Cejudo believes the Irish contender could create dangerous scrambles and even threaten submissions if opportunities appear. Those moments may not guarantee victory, but they could dramatically change the flow of the fight. As UFC 330 approaches, opinions continue to be divided throughout the MMA world. Some experts believe Islam's championship experience and dominant wrestling will simply be too much to overcome. Others see Garry's confidence, athleticism, and technical striking as the ingredients for one of the biggest upsets in recent UFC history. One thing is certain, both fighters appear completely convinced they have the perfect strategy. When the octagon door finally closes, confidence and predictions will no longer matter. Only execution will decide whether Islam Makhachev strengthens his legacy once again or Ian Machado Garry shocks the entire MMA world with the biggest victory of his career. While Ian Garry continues to back himself with complete confidence, several respected voices across the MMA community believe this matchup is far more competitive than many fans are expecting. Former middleweight champion Michael Bisping believes people are making a mistake by assuming Islam Makhachev will cruise to another easy title defense. Although Bisping agrees that Islam deserves his status as the pound-for-pound king, he argues that Ian Garry possesses the exact qualities capable of creating serious problems inside the octagon. According to Bisping, Garry's height, long reach, slick footwork, and ability to control distance make him unlike many of Islam's previous opponents. If Garry can consistently stay off the fence and force the champion into prolonged striking exchanges, he may be able to slow Islam's relentless pressure. However, Bisping also acknowledged that allowing Islam to secure clean takedowns would completely change the fight, as escaping from the champion's top control is one of the hardest tasks in mixed martial arts. Brazilian contender Carlos Prates also believes Garry deserves more respect than he's receiving. While he still considers Islam the favorite heading into UFC 330, Prates insists Garry has the technical skills to pull off an upset if everything goes according to plan. His biggest concern, however, is Garry's finishing ability. Prates explained that Garry often wins fights through precision, movement, and smart decision-making rather than overwhelming knockout power. Against a champion as durable and composed as Islam Makhachev, simply winning exchanges may not be enough. In his opinion, Garry must land meaningful shots that genuinely hurt the champion if he hopes to swing the momentum of the contest. Looking deeper into the matchup, Prates expects Garry to defend several takedowns and successfully return to his feet on multiple occasions. Even so, he believes Islam's relentless wrestling pressure will eventually create repeated opportunities to control the fight. Over 5 championship rounds, that consistency could become the deciding factor. MMA analyst Jed Meshew shares a similar opinion regarding Garry's bold prediction of finishing Islam. Meshew understands why every fighter wants to visualize a dominant performance before stepping into the cage, but he believes stopping Makhachev is far easier said than done. Throughout his championship run, Islam has repeatedly shown incredible composure under pressure, along with the durability to survive dangerous situations against elite competition. That doesn't mean Garry can't win. As UFC 330 rapidly approaches, excitement continues to grow around what could become one of the defining fights of the year. Will Ian Machado Garry shock the MMA world by ending Islam Makhachev's incredible reign and fulfilling the bold promises he's been making throughout fight week? Or will Islam once again prove why many consider him the best fighter on the planet, adding another dominant victory to an already legendary resume? The predictions remain divided, but one thing is certain: when these two elite competitors finally meet inside the octagon, every question will finally be answered. Until then, the debate continues. Who do you think leaves UFC 330 with the victory? Let us know your prediction in the comments below, and don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest UFC news, fight breakdowns, and exclusive updates.